Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunrise Daily today. I'm Chamberlain.
Just in case you're wondering what news, there's news of food. And who doesn't like food, by the way? Good morning and welcome. I'm Malfogo Yusuf.
Well, we're starting off with food this morning. Perhaps it will get clearer along the way, but we're up bright and sprightly. Good morning and welcome. I am Bukola Koka.
Malfogo, I think I have a vague idea of where that is coming from. It's the 20th day in the month of December. It's 5 days to Christmas. Amaya Makine, good morning and welcome. And talking about food, you know, one of the issues we've talked about over time is that of food security. Well, expand that conversation this morning to what we had yesterday with the Chief of Defense Staff, calling on Nigerians to join the government in ensuring safety and security all over the nation, asking for the support of the people. We couldn't ask for that anymore, any less or any more. Maybe a quick reference to what Governor Fubara said yesterday, that look, no amount is too big a price to pay for peace. And that should, let's expand that all over the nation, you know, among ourselves. You know, which areas do we have restlessness or restive peace in the different parts of our country? Let's pay attention to them. I've often said this and I'll say it again. The primary place where we ensure security, first of all, is at the lowest level of governance, the local government system. So if we are going to have the support of the people, I think we should start from there. Security agencies, security consultants, security specialists have told us time and again that all security is local. Consequently, all insecurity is local. So if we are going to have, you know, the kind of partnership with the government as a people that the Chief of Defense Staff has been asking for, is asking for, and the federal government is saying the same thing. Even the state governments are saying the same thing. The question I want to ask is, do we have the infrastructure to ensure that? Can people find a way to trust that when they give information to security agencies, they will be safe, protected, and secure? Those are the issues that we need to look at. One of the issues that the CDS mentioned yesterday is the fact that there is some fellow outside Nigeria who is fomenting unrest in the southeast. And, you know, the question we continue to ask is, how come the governors are not able in the southeast or wherever else to marshal their people in a way that they can trust the system enough to ignore anybody from anywhere else who is not speaking in the interest of peace and tranquility in our various regions and territories? We have various community development associations all over the place. I'm sure one of the dailies this morning is going to tell us that despite spending trillions of naira on local government administrations all over the country, all 774 local government in the country, development hasn't quite gotten there. So if that is the challenge that we have on our hands, how can we have the kind of partnership we want between the federal government, between the people and the government, federal, state, or local? Yesterday also we brought to our attention the fact that there are a number of out-of-school children and that the federal government was the one saying that that is a time bomb waiting to happen. These are the things that government needs to pay attention to at whatever level, federal, state, or local, to ensure that we have the kind of partnership we need to have with the government to ensure that we have peace at all times. Insecurity is everybody's problem, and it starts local. Can we take it from there? Bukola?
Well, indeed, Ayo, you've touched on the sore points, you know, in your commentary, i.e., you know, insecurity, being local in every region and in every part of the country. You also talked about the number of out-of-school children. And that, for me, you know, strikes very deeply at the heart of the matter, which is, you know, the challenge of poverty. We've talked about insecurity, albeit in an inexhaustive manner, on this platform in recent times in the past, and we will continue to, you know, focus on the challenge of insecurity. Speaking of which, I recall not too long ago how some resource persons have told us about how, you know, people in communities have courted, you know, or have been courted by insurgents, terrorists who buy their loyalty, with money. And that's the problem, really. And, that's one of the areas that government should first of all focus on, tackling poverty. If the partnership that you talk about is going to be possible, if the people are going to see security agents and indeed government officials as their friends, as the police would have us believe, then, that challenge of poverty must first of all be defeated. You've also talked about the challenge of out-of-school children and how, that is a time bomb waiting to happen. That is another aspect of the problem that has to be defeated as a matter of necessity, because right there staring at us in the number of out-of-school children is radicalism waiting to happen. If in the northeastern part of the country we have defeated the problem of insurgency, and education is still a matter that has not been resolved, then we have not made any progress. And we'll look at the budgets, of the subnationals and indeed at the federal level. There is no significant progress. There is nothing to show, the political will, to tackle the problem using the non-kinetic approach that, the subnationals will have us believe, that leaders at that level is important to defeating so much of our socioeconomic problems. So those are the areas that we need to begin to look at if we must defeat, the problem of insecurity. And it's instructive to note what the CDS told us yesterday about how we've defeated the challenge of insecurity in the Northeast, being insurgency, but because some people are profiting economically from the continuing socioeconomic challenge, that's why we still have this problem, and that's why we're still, battling it headlong. So it really is a hydra-headed issue. If people are profiting from it economically, it also, it's a mirror on the society. It shows, that there's still so many areas that government has not looked into. If we're spending so much of on insecurity, why are the results long in coming? Malpe, Chamberlain, you might have more to add.
And I've just been thinking about it. A few days ago, I found out I was in a conversation with a friend, and one of the things we were able to, because you find out that Nigeria's problems follow you everywhere. You're talking with your friend, you're talking about the problem of Nigeria, you're talking with family, it's also the problem of Nigeria. It's just complicated. Every day you come to work and that's what you're also talking, because you're faced with it in almost every facet of your existence in this country. Even when you leave the country, for those who, think that by jackbuying, they've run away from the problem, sorry, you still have family back here. You will still face the problem. So I think it's high time we all sat down and see how we can find solutions. And I think during the conversation I was having with this friend of mine, we were talking about how, big the federal government budget is, and, how it's going to be very difficult for that money to trickle down. Because, as somebody said, I think it was a guest who wrote in on the program, or the viewer who wrote in, that even if the president sat down 247 and all he did was, see people or share money, as the case might be, and he didn't sleep and he didn't eat and he just sat in one position, he won't be able to attend to everybody. Even if he and his ministers did the same thing, they would not be able to attend to everybody. But imagine that leaders at different levels, paid that sort of attention to the levels that they're supposed to pay to. What results will we get if 774 local governments and their chairmen were functioning? What results will we get? The results certainly will be different. So we have to ask ourselves deeper questions. Why have we abandoned the local government? Why have we accepted that it is okay for our local government not to function as they were designed to function in our constitution? These are deep questions. For anybody who takes leadership at either the presidency or at the governorship level, I think that they really need to ask themselves these questions. It will be very worthwhile to hold a conference, even if it was a week-long conference, to ask, what can we do to revive our local government? Because if you look at it, the elites, they found ways, even people now that are not so elitist, they found ways to create some sort of local government for themselves. People will say, oh, I'm my own local government. I give myself light. I give myself water. I give myself security. But they know that even that is not a sustainable model. So you find people coming together and, building estates That's primarily what estates are about. They give you that sense of community, where you have somebody who is in charge of making sure that there's security for a group of people. People need that sense of community. They want to be able to come together, build their roads, fix their street lights, fix their electricity problems, assuming there were, to be any general challenge in their area. It is because they seek that sense of local government. So if we are coming together and banding together at that level, why is it so difficult for us to extend it and make sure that local governments work? As a copper, I had cause to use the community's cottage hospital. And it's an experience I will never forget. The community, very kind, very warm, very useful. I'm looking for the right words. But when I looked at the facility, that for the very first time I had to use the government facility, don't ask me where I'd been going to all of this time, but as a copper, I cried. I cried hot tears that night, admitted in a cottage hospital. And I asked myself, why can't these things work? Is it rocket science for us to care about the poorest of the poor? Is it rocket science to care for rural people and make sure that basic amenities work for them? It's not. So I think that we really, because all of the problems, if you take a look at it, it is because we have abandoned the local government for so many years. That's why the problems now seem so complex. So we need to ask ourselves, in whose interest is it that our local government continues to not function? Who profits from it? Who benefits from it? It's a big question we really need to ask ourselves, especially as we go into 2024, if we seek to make progress as a country. Chamberlain.
All of these things. Not something.
It's not something that that you will just take one and address it and think that every other thing will fall in place. It's not just going to work. For instance, the reason why, because at this point, people provide almost everything for themselves. They don't feel any need, any responsibility, any to the country or to the government. Even though government will come and tell you, oh, you have to pay tax, but I know there are people who are in government who are advocating they shouldn't be paying tax. But when politicians get their cronies into security agencies, that's why you see them misbehave time and again, because they feel I have a godfather somewhere. What can the system do to me? And time and again, they get away with it and that's why they keep doing it. And so if we're to have that conversation, it's going to be huge. Look at states, for instance. Almost every state you turn, they have one form of security organization or outfit different from the police.
Oh, yes.
But they don't want to admit that we need to really address the policing problem or the policing architecture or security architecture in the country.
Yeah.
They won't admit it. And you look at some of these things, you just shudder and you wonder. Because now they say, oh no, we shouldn't bear arms and everything. But we know there are groups of people who bear arms in this country and people overlook it. And those group of people do whatever they can because they think that they are superior to everybody else. So it's a huge challenge if we really have to address it. And above all else, beyond pointing finger upwards, we need to also look at ourselves. Some of what we do to ourselves, when you have a little opportunity, you're in somewhere, the things that you do sometimes is even worse than what an office will do to an individual. So that's why I say it's systemic. We need to decide amongst ourselves, look, how far do we think we can go with this? Even if you amass all the money, buy all the houses, all the equipment, you can only sleep on one side of the bed at a time. You can only drive one car, one side of the road, 1 meal a day. So what is all this madness? But it is crazy. You won't go with it to the grave anyway. So it won't happen. But look, it just keeps going on. And so sometimes you can have a headache trying to see that things work, So, but at the moment, we have to keep going. Because if they don't get tired of doing the wrong things because they think they can get away, I don't think people who advocate for things to go right should also give up. Because if you do, what choice do you have? You want to settle for less? Nah, I don't think so. Let's take you through some of the dailies now. Perhaps look at leadership. They're talking about the truce or reverse truce. And it says, Fubara bows, ready to make more concessions. I know several folks, and when you're bogged down with so many challenges in the country, you don't know where to vent or let your frustrations out. Whatever comes in, you just latch onto it and vent as much as possible. So now there are several perspectives on this one. So while you see that it says no price too much to pay for peace in Rivers, just beside that, Clark declares peace pact one-sided. PDP insists Wike is still party member, not above sanctions. So will they sanction him or what? So if they were to rely on the statement by Clark saying peace pact one-sided, then he would then say, okay, no, I don't want this, I want this or that. But amidst all of those narratives out there that he didn't sign it, because look, when you hear things and run with it, you just really ask yourself, okay, what part of what you even heard is true and what part is not? Because you react based on what you know. So what part of what you know you think is valid? Because look, it's not just that clear cut, but there are certain things that have played out that clearly people have seen and think, no, this is not right. So to that extent, yes, they can come to their own conclusions. But I'm sure you see it in several other dailies. But this is the lead story here. Equally interesting, I didn't order dress code for Niger workers. By God, that's the governor, because the word had been out there circulating too, that he has said from Monday to Thursday, don't wear this native attire to work. Look, make it English, civil servants. And now he says, he didn't do that. You have to read the story to get the context, so that's why it's like this anyway.
It was a clarification.
Yes, I was about to do that, but I thought, no, let me let you go ahead and do that. Unfortunately, bandits abduct 2 policemen, 28 others in Taraba, Sokoto. Still a thing.
I mean, they're not even afraid of the police. They're abducting police. So if you were traveling and you say, oh, I have 2 policemen in my vehicle.
God help you.
This is not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing, but I can't help myself. The bandits will adopt plus you and the police people you have.
Wow. Just wow.
It's not even funny, but I don't know. I can't help it this morning.
Sounds like a script in one of those movie scenes, right?
It is. It's not it will be a badly written script, but this is exactly how it's playing out here, where our people of the underworld do not even have any regard for the uniform. Well, we do not know if they were abducted in uniform, because that would be another thing. If they were abducted in uniform, were they armed? It's possible that they were policemen off duty, and it was maybe much later that it came out that the people that they abducted in their custody were also police officers. So
just that
let's not jump to conclusions here.
Just that we didn't have much more time for the CDS yesterday. Look, you know how military officials will conduct if they see a civilian in camouflage. But you see terrorists clad in almost full fatigue, full gear, military gear.
But if you look, they're usually a bit different. You find
in some cases they're not. From some of the people we interviewed across, but they say, look, they were confused because they thought they were military.
Yeah, sometimes they steal, but if you look, actually, Chembele, you will see that they are not properly clad. And that's why it's very important that when people are on duty, they dress up properly. There's been that complaint that wear your proper shoes, don't wear slippers.
I'm not about to wait to look properly if the bandits coming, please.
So what if a legitimate policeman stops you? You zoom past.
I should wait. I'll be looking at bandits clad properly, whether they're wearing proper shoes.
Let's not even go into that conversation. But and I think that there needs to be, it depends on where you are, though.
I hope that's not what they were doing when they abducted these 2 policemen.
I sincerely hope not, Joe. I sincerely hope not. Will that be all for leadership newspapers? Well, Vanguard also has the same story right there on the front page. No price too big for peace in Rivers. That's according to Fubara. PDP, Clark, Ijon Nation, Rivers elders reject Tinubu's peace accord. PDP says no remedy for 25 former Rivers lawmakers, urges them to prepare for fresh polls. Okay, Clark threatens legal action against Tinubu. We're yet to recognize G27 Rivers legislators That's according to ASAF. I don't know.
And the president be sued?
What is ASAF? I don't know what that is, but I mean, you're right, there's an acronym. Huh?
Can the president actually be sued?
I don't know. So there's immunity, but I also think that the immunity might be on.
It's just anger, basically, and people are angry about some of these things. So
perhaps,
perhaps
also, it's also possible that people are looking at whether any parts of the Constitution have been breached.
But it's good that people are reverting to the courts. Say, look, this is where I'm going to go to address to seek redress. Yeah. Fantastic.
It's a good place to go.
That's the way to go.
Well, says Fubara was ambushed in Aso Rock. Resolution dictatorial, one-sided, unacceptable. And you also see here, NADECO urges Rivers people to reject resolution. So, meanwhile, the governor who is involved says no price too big for peace in Rivers.
People say no.
If he's willing to pay the price.
No, we don't agree.
Why are people crying louder than this?
You say no, it's one-sided. Chief Clark.
Page 5 is where you'll find it.
I think Chief Clark said it before the governor said it. Maybe we'll wait for more reactions.
We'll understand why when you read page 5 of the paper. You also see a number of other stories, right? Now, this has been going on for a while now, and said like some rumor from the north, and then it has trickled, it has entered Abuja fully. But Labour is responding to it. Naira scarcity, unacceptable. What is going on? I mean, we're complaining about inflation hitting the roof. Things are expensive. It's so difficult to buy. Then people now have to go through the additional burden of looking for cash to be able to purchase the items with no reason being given, apart from being told that, some people are hoarding. So if they're hoarding, we should be at the mercy of those hoarding the cash? Is that what should happen? It is mind-boggling, to be honest. Where do we even start from? Where do we even start? I don't know. Bukola and Ayo might be able to tell us what is happening in Lagos. But Labour is certainly making a statement about it this morning, saying Naira scarcity unacceptable. I am certainly on all fours with Labour around that. I wish there was a word stronger than unacceptable. It's abominable, as a matter of fact. I mean, how can we go through this, twice, 2 Christmases, looking for cash? It's totally unimaginable. You also have a number of other stories, but I'm going to leave you to look at it. Mr. and Mrs. is right there on the front page. Mr. is saying, I'm sorry, darling. My job entails moving around a lot. I'm a field worker. And Mrs. says, that is not even an excuse. Even field marshals spend quality time with their families. Families come together. Some people will not be around for Christmas. Don't worry, it'll get better.
I should do.
Let's leave it there for Vanguard newspaper.
Why does it sound like Malpa is throwing shades at someone this morning? Anyway, Bukola.
Malpa, please don't listen to Ayo. Mrs. has a very valid complaint this morning, and we hope Mr. listens both on paper and off paper. Well, let's take a look at Daily Independent this morning. And while Governor Fubara is saying no price is too high to pay for peace, it appears that the PDP disagrees, albeit vehemently. PDP rejects Tinubu, others' resolutions on Rivers crisis. That's what you have on the front page of Daily Independent. And there are about 3 riders here. Says defected lawmakers can only be readmitted through election. Insists INEC fixes date for fresh poll into 25 state constituencies. And Clark says resolution unacceptable, dictatorial, threatens lawsuit. So it appears there are so many others willing to fight the fight of Governor Fubara. How will this play out? And ultimately, what happens, in Rivers State, particularly the people who appear to be at the receiving end of this continuing fight between Godfather and Godson. Well, the coming days will be telling on how it plays out. There are a number of other stories on the front page of Daily Independent. We started off talking about security and the role of the local governments. We'll take a look at this one under the big story. Gunmen kidnap Taraba monarch son, pregnant daughter, others 18 others. It's a page 7 read, and that came in yesterday, and it was quite unpalatable, difficult to take in, particularly because this threat of banditry, cross-border banditry, appears to be spreading, particularly from neighboring Cameroon. We read only weeks ago about that coming from Cross River as well, cross-border threats to communities in the South. So how aware are the police authorities, and what exactly are they doing about it? So, since we're going to be talking about security later on the program today, it would just be timely to put those questions through. Let's go down to the bottom strip now to see this one. Extent of Naira devaluation to determine capital base of banks that's ascribed to the CBN. And it throws up a number of questions. Will it determine the nature of the merger? And what if banks, even when they merge, cannot meet up with this requirement? What's going to happen?
I guess we'll wait to see.
We'll wait to see.
So, yeah.
Let's leave it there for Daily Independent.
Well, the Guardian newspaper this morning focuses squarely on local government administrations, and it's talking about how much has been spent. Despite 9.56 trillion naira allocation in 5 years, 774 local government areas still underdeveloped. And it has a chronicle of payments between 2019 and this year in the illustration on the front page. Now, there are 3 points being made there. State governments hijack funds, functions of local councils. That's the first. Second one says stakeholders seek scrap of joint account and allocation committee. And there's a line in parentheses there, why opposition parties are non-existent at grassroots. The details of that you'll find on the inside pages. This is very, very concerning, extremely concerning indeed. And perhaps, is it a good time for us to be asking the former local government administrations and state governors over the past 5 years? That's the lead story of the Guardian newspaper, and of course the Rivers story is also there. This is just one. Telcos may lose subscribers as NCC orders total ban of unlinked SIMs. You may want to check. If your SIM is not linked to your name, well, you may lose that line. But how soon? Details you'll find on page 15. That's the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Yeah, so Tribune also highlighting developments in Rivers, saying no price too high to pay for peace. Fubara, Fallon and Clark say Abuja resolution unconstitutional. No way back for 25 defected lawmakers ascribed to PDP. And then give Tinubu real feedback from Nigerians. Fire tells Ganduje. So there you go. That's Nigerian Tribune here today.
Well, I'm looking at Observer for you this morning, and you see it right there on the front page. Where is it now? I think it disappeared a moment. NAS wants it will bypass laggards to meet budget deadline. That's a lead story right there. Observer is what I'm looking at for you. You also see, they don't write this to that particular story, but it's within a context. Budget defense has been going on for a while now, and heads of ministries, departments, and agencies have been defending their budgets, but looks like not everybody is meeting the time that the National Assembly has set for them. So they're saying they will bypass laggards to meet budget deadline. They also have this: Obasaki approves free health insurance for Edo pensioners, Vigilante, others. Recommits to universal health care coverage. So that's right there. And they also have the story: Tinubu rejects, PDP rejects Tinubu's intervention in Rivers crisis. We'll leave it there for the Nigerian Observer.
Yeah, for the dailies as well this morning. And so we're back in just a moment. Don't go away.
Officials of the Investigation and Enforcement Unit of the National Agency on Food, Drug Administration and Control NAFDAC make their first stop at a warehouse in the Wuse area of the nation's capital. The team swings into action, checking the authenticity of the drugs at the facility, and makes a discovery.
During the search, we were able to recover some of the Schedule 1 narcotic drugs, even those that are not registered by the agency, and others unregistered products that we were able to gather from these premises. Schedule 1 narcotic drugs are drugs that are controlled drugs meant only to be purchased by the Federal Ministry of Health in every country. It is the Federal Ministry of Health, that means the federal government of Nigeria, that has the sole responsibility of purchasing Schedule 1 narcotic drugs. All other health institutions in the country are to go to Federal Ministry of Health and purchase their Schedule 1 narcotic drug for the needs of their patients.
Over 10 cartons of the counterfeit drugs are then confiscated and the warehouse is then locked up. From here, the team moves to the Day area of the Federal Capital Territory. This time, the raid is on street vendors of counterfeit drugs. One of the vendors was unlucky.
If anybody is sick, hospitals are around. They should visit the hospitals. They should stop patronizing workers. You can see most of the products we confiscated are just in the open, under the harsh condition of the weather, which drugs are not supposed to be sold. That is a special storage condition that is assigned to every pharmaceutical products, so that its shelf life will be guaranteed and the efficacy and safety of that product will be guaranteed. But hawkers, they don't care about, of course they don't even know what drug is in the first instance, talk less of caring about the storage condition or handling process.
NAFDAC plans to intensify the enforcement exercise in its effort to rid the nation of counterfeit and unwholesome products, while calling on Nigerians to desist from patronizing street hawkers. Victoria Longchan for Channels Television News.
You can see behind me everywhere, the whole of this section of the market, every shop you see here is a factory. Every single shop you see is a factory. And then everybody is manufacturing products. Number one, there are two sets of illegality going on here. Some set of people are manufacturing products of other people in large quantity. So much so that the other people might not even know the difference between their product and the one that is manufactured here. Manufacturing under a very bad environment, poor GMP, using banned chemicals, colorings, with the raw materials we saw the other time. All they do is just get a rubber, a mixer. So then use just this normal sieve to just sieve and put into bottles for people to drink. But my fear is that this is Ulta period. A lot of people have bought drinks in the house. You don't even know where the source of the drinks you have bought. We've had a high level of increase in renal failure, kidney failure, and all of that. And some of them are major result of these poisonous things that people are taking in.
Welcome back. Professor Mojisola Adeyeye joins us now. She is the Director General for NAFDAC. Good morning and thank you for joining us on the program today.
Good morning, Alex. It's good to be with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so the challenge is now at the moment, several people just think that there's this free-for-all impression they get as though that's what's happening out there in the market. So I know that, yes, NAFDAC is out there doing what you can, but can you tell us, are you succeeding in ensuring that you rid the market of fake products? Because several people tell you in their homes, wherever they go, it's just one fake item or the other, and it's overwhelming to a lot of people.
Thank you so much. It is sad that some people are bent on making quick money at the detriment of our citizens. Does NAFDAC work? Yes, NAFDAC works. That's why we are digging all the dirt out and trying to get rid of them. We do post-marketing surveillance routinely, meaning we go to the market, make sure that the products that are registered are the products that are on the shelf. However, we also depend on intelligence. The raid that we conducted in Aba has been on, no, the investigation has been on for a while. But when you have a large segment of a market dealing with faking of products, you cannot just walk in and say, I'm seizing this shop. A large portion of the market. Therefore, we have to be very careful so that we do not endanger the lives of our staff or the forces that we even take there. So, my advice to the public is please shop at designated or identifiable places. If it is too good to be true with price, very likely it is fake. You have to check the package. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we have porous borders. What is happening, or what we have been fighting with on and off, is a reflection of what is going on in the society. We have very porous borders. Nigeria has gone through hard times over the last 2 years, very hard economic times. So when people are being sold things that are cheap, they don't question it. So it is a combination of many factors. But we do our work very well. If we do not publicize what we have just done, everybody will be getting ready for Christmas and not really caring too much about what they buy or where they buy it from. So the short answer is NAFDAC works very well. However, we need more staff. We need more staff. It was a vigil what happened last week on the part of some of our staff and myself. We need more staff. We have only 2,000 staff for a population of 250 million. South Korea has 50 million people, and they have the FDA equivalent or NAFDAC equivalent has 3,000. 1/4 of our size, 1.5 times the number of staff. So that is also part of the problem, because we cannot just say it is because of XYZ. It's accumulation. Thank you very much.
Well, it does appear as though, I'm not sure if the authorities are actually listening, because, I mean, yesterday I checked and I saw that 7 years ago, this same narrative too, where you said you needed more staff. And here we are still talking about the same thing. So clearly, NAFDAC will be overwhelmed if you don't have a lot of staff. So are you channeling this request to the right quarters?
Yes and yes. The 10th Assembly is very, very serious about this, and the message is being passed on. I was at the budget defense the upper week, and I just told them that, we are burning candles at both ends in NAFDAC. We don't have evening, we don't have night, we don't have weekends, because we have to safeguard the health of our people. So the answer to your question is yes. I believe the 10th Assembly will help us, and the coordinating Minister of Health is also working very hard to make sure that NAFDAC gets the staff they need. Thank you very much.
I hope they don't let us all die before they answer this, because if it's 7 years and they're still working very hard, that's going to take some doing. But last year, you also said that NAFDAC was going to purchase this equipment that looked like cell phones. You can use it to check fake drugs or the quality and the standards and things like that. So it will help impacting your work. Have you succeeded in getting any of those facilities?
We actually did. We got 40 pieces of it, very, very costly. It's called TrueScan. It's for detecting substandard falsified medicines. Instead of only what we used to have, meaning just identifying the medicine, this one also can tell you the level of the medicine. We have used it for what I call qualitative, meaning identifying medicines. We have used it to identify substandard falsified medicines. However, the quantitative aspect of it needs a lot of what we call chemometrics. And our staff are undergoing that training right now. It is not something you just read on paper. It's an engineering type of calculation, things like that. So that is, yes, we have those TrueScan, and we are the only regulatory agency in the world that has as many. Why did we buy many? Because we have many problems. We have porous borders that are not manned, that we're supposed to be manning, and all this affect what comes into the market and what doesn't.
Okay, so clearly, this technology which you're talking about is supposed to be deployed at the borders. Is that correct?
It's supposed to be used at the borders for medicines, at the ports, in the market. Our staff are supposed to take them to the market and just use them to scan products randomly. But we need to make sure that, in fact, the 40, this is another issue. The 40 that we bought, we had to, buy only 40. We had 72 in mind, 2 per state, or 1 per state, and then distribute around the borders. But the Naira fluctuation reduced it to 40. That was the money that we could buy, So there are so many other issues that are causing, a lot of making challenges for us. Thank you.
Oh, well, it's a challenge everywhere, Prof. But watching the video that we played earlier, in terms of the busts that your officials, your very courageous officials have made, and it has 2 effects. On the one hand, you're saying, oh, NAFDAC is working. On the other hand, you're wondering how many more did they not see? How many more are currently in operation that have not been busted? That's one of the questions people will be asking. And then people will be, because in one of the respondents, one of the officials that was spoken to said that these people make it so well. And even those who own the drinks or who own the original products will find it very difficult to differentiate their own products from the fake. So if manufacturers of original products will find their own products difficult to differentiate from fakes, what is the fate of those who intend to purchase this product? So it creates another environment of fear where people might be unwilling to purchase in an economy that is already very weak. Is this a problem that NAFDAC is seeing and thinking that they might need to address if we're going to be addressing an ailing economy?
That's a good analogy, actually. And I want to use US FDA as an example of one of our best regulatory agencies in the world. They do busting. They do raids. But the society just has to know that it is when raids are done that things are exposed. That doesn't mean all the products in US market are bad. This is not what the raid that we do is not unique to NAFDAC. That is what all regulatory agencies do. However, USFDA has a third more population than us, 315 million. We have 215 or approximately. The staff strength is 18,000 and we have 2,000. Therefore, the more staff you have, the more staff you use in the market for surveillance. I don't give excuse at all. If I've been giving excuses since I came, we will not get to maturity level 3. Only 30% of regulatory agencies in the world have maturity level 3. We will not have pre-qualification of Yaba Central Drug Lab, which we had this September. The minister just announced it, and then I made a press conference last week. Only few countries in Africa have a lab in their country that is central, that is pre-qualified. So the fact that we are doing all this, it is also because we are strengthening our system despite the challenges. NAFDAC is more respected than ever globally. We can stand shoulder to shoulder with very stringent regulatory authorities because they know now we have gotten the language. What is the language? Quality of products for the products that are in the market. Safeguarding the health of the nation. And to do that, you need a lot of resources, money. You need a lot of staff. You need, of course, money for gadgets and whatnot. So things are working. I will just ask the public to please buy from places that you have confidence in, where you can go back and say, I bought this yesterday. Not roving marketeers. Do not purchase from somebody that you can never go back to. And I want to also enjoin our people to call. Our number is 800-162-3322. 1-800-62-3322. You will have somebody on the line that will answer the call and point you to the right direction. That doesn't mean if there's a problem right there, we can solve it for you, but that is intelligentsia as far as I'm concerned. Oh, I'm in this market and I don't think what I'm seeing is right. NAFDAC cannot be all over, especially with the limited number of staff. But whether we even have 18,000 or we have 12,000, we still need the community. It is all of us working together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to transfer this or send this now to my colleagues in Lagos. Ayo Bukola.
Well, thank you, Malpe. Prof, still on the matter of these products, you know, the consumables especially being cloned to perfection, you see a number of very, popular household items, particularly in the most recent burst that NAFDAC has just done. And it throws up, a very serious concern, for Nigerians, the generality of Nigerians. Is the agency considering the deployment of technology, not just for NAFDAC officials now, but for Nigerians to be able to check out these products, particularly their own cloned NAFDAC number, in order to verify what has been purchased? Because, sometimes they even clone the name of the brand of the consumable to perfection.
That is a very, very good question. Technology. If you have a smartphone, you can actually scan the barcode on the product, and it may not give you all that you need, but it will give you an indication of where that product is from. In 2019, NAFDAC started with the Ministry of Health, started the National Traceability Strategy, where we use technology to monitor products that come through our borders and products that are now being manufactured in Nigeria too, because there are some local manufacturers that are already using the barcoding. We use that technology to scan or commission over 2 million secondary packages secondary packages of vaccines. We use that technology to monitor all the vaccines that came into Nigeria. But you know, when you have a lot of things to do on the ground, it is not overnight that you do it. We are using it now to monitor anti-malarials, anti-tuberculosis, antivirals, scaling it up. We are now using it to monitor narcotics. So we have a huge market, and we cannot do everything overnight. That is what the world is watching NAFDAC for. That this agency is making strides. Are we there yet? No. We're not there yet. And actually no agency can be there 100%. But we are not there yet. But we are improving and improving. We are going to maturity level 4. And then to world listed authority. So our goals are huge for the country. That doesn't mean the problems that are there will disappear overnight, because all these things tied to poverty, illiteracy, economy. About 50% of Nigerians are illiterate. So somebody that didn't go to school, how can they even understand or do what we are saying they should do? Even those of us that went to school, sometimes we don't read labels in the market. I had to start reading labels when I was in the US, because my son was asthmatic, has asthmatic reaction to MSG, monosodium glutamate. And when FDA brought that up, they did not ban it, but they brought it up that some people may be sensitive. So I started reading labels. So there are many problems in our country: poverty, the forex issue or the naira issue, that lack of education, just so many things. But NAFDAC is going places for the sake of our country, so that our beans that have been banned before my time, we are working right now to restore that to come back to the status, to lift that ban. We are working with NEPC, we are working with customs to make sure that we don't work in silo. We work in silo in Nigeria, self-aggrandizement. Mine is better than yours. I better pass my neighbor. No, we have to work together for the sake of the country. Thank you.
Prof, one of the last few things that you have just said throws up another big concern: the literacy levels. And that brings me to my next question. The recent report by the UNODC says, about substandard drugs kill about 500,000 people in sub-Saharan Africa annually. And, it also ties to the discovery of, or the raid of fake drugs in the open market, of which NAFDAC has busted a few times. Despite, the competing resources that you have and inadequate personnel, would it be instructive and especially important for NAFDAC to also prioritize the need for education and awareness, for people in local languages, such that the incidence of diseases, kidney diseases that we see in the country can be reduced? And we're seeing them a lot in the hinterland. Prof.
Again, that is a very, very good question, very good observation. We have NAFDAC and Your Health on TVC. We are bringing it to channels actually, because the more the merrier. TVC, NTA. We have NAFDAC and Your Health on FRCN, and we started small with just English. Now we use Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa to let our people know in their language. We may have to be doing that through the TV media, but all these things cost money. The government pays our salary, and that is one of the best things they could do for an agency like us. But we raise the money that we use for everything. Almost everything. They give us a little bit for capital, but we raise over 95% of what we use. And all these things cost money. Again, that's why NAFDAC, and it's not because I'm DG NAFDAC, it's a strategic agency that the lives of our people depend on. So we cannot be seen as a commodity that can be traded or whatever. No, it is, we are safeguarding and it's my own life too, because I drink water, I eat food, I take medicine from Nigeria.
Okay. Well,
so in terms of awareness, we will increase our awareness. We have not done everything that we are supposed to do, but we are doing as much as we can right now.
Well, perhaps, yes, perhaps one of the challenges that we have to contend with here now is that of adequate communication. Awareness is one thing, even letting people know that NAFDAC is doing sufficiently, or rather something significant enough for them. It's another consideration altogether. I'm looking through the online sites now, and I'm seeing interventions of NAFDAC in Benue, in Abuja, in Abia, various parts of the country. But then the backlash that has come as a result of the crackdown that, you know, is reigning now, I don't know how you are internalizing it, because as a full coverage, I'm pretty sure that this was one of the trends online, that NAFDAC wasn't doing enough, that, you know, a good number of people actually said not very, very pleasant things, you know, essentially saying that as far as they are concerned, NAFDAC isn't doing enough. The backstory is all over the place. You know, there's those who are even saying NAFDAC number should be digitized. Some are saying that NAFDAC should use barcodes and all those things. Essentially saying, how did we even get here in the first place? You cited it the other time that, you know, these products shouldn't even have gotten into the country in the first place. And if those things have gotten into the country, and NAFDAC has been going all over the country clamping down on these organizations in various parts of the country, it calls to question the kind of collaborations that should be happening or is not happening between NAFDAC and the Standards Organization of Nigeria, which someone also tweeted about, NAFDAC and the customs, those who should not allow these things to come into the country in the first place. How are you dealing with that? Can you talk to us about the collaboration that is or is not happening? Any pushback that is not allowing NAFDAC to do its job?
Again, this is a very good observation. Is part of the reason why we are where we are. I got to NAFDAC 2017. From 2011 to 2018, NAFDAC was not at the port. 2011 to May 16, 2018, because that is edged in my brain. NAFDAC was removed from the port. It is easier to destroy than to build. What broke my heart when I came, maybe my first year, was if we have to do something at the port, our staff say we stay in their vehicles. And there was an instance when it was raining hard. So they have to get a big umbrella, very big umbrella, and stayed in the car and answered the customers from under the umbrella. And I said, what is this? Are we an illegitimate agency? Why are we being treated like this? And that time there was a lot of bombing, suicide bombers. And they tracked for the tissue that they recovered from the site. They saw tramadol in it. That was why National Security Advisor Agency office fought to get us back to the country. What am I saying? To ask, how did we get here? That was how we got there. Cabals were formed. It is easier to destroy than to build. Those cabals will not go overnight. And we also have to have a very strong judicial system. We have what is called the C-34 bill or act that the 9th Assembly started, member-friendly amendments. And the 10th Assembly has already asked us to resubmit it so that they can pass it when somebody brings in tramadol that is going to kill people, and you find the person 250,000 naira or 5 years in jail. Who doesn't know?
Well, one more thing, madam. This is actually quite concerning. How about the collaboration with state governors, state governments, and local government administrators? These things go down to the locals. And so one wonders if there is anything that could be done in that regard. Because, as you said, with 2,000 staff, NAFDAC may not be able to go everywhere and monitor everyone.
Again, you are reading my mind. This is part of the discussion for the last 2-3 days with my staff. Even before this raid, we have Federal Task Force. Federal Task Force is domiciled in NAFDAC. The chairperson or the director of investigation and enforcement directorate is the chairperson of the Federal Task Force. But things were not right. We thought that we had to even make our act in silo. There is the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. Pharmacy Council of Nigeria represents or is represented on our board. We are not represented on their board, and we both regulate. They regulate mostly downstream. We regulate both upstream and downstream. It is only last year, when the PCN bill was passed, that NAFDAC became a member of the council. Why am I saying this? The director of pharmaceutical services in all the states are supposed to be part of the state task forces. But when we are not even, we don't even know who is who, we are not together, but now we are together. And we are planning January of 2024 to have a big meeting, but now we're going to also include customs and Ministry of Environment, all the stakeholders that could affect or influence, mitigate reduction of fake medicines at the states. So things were not the way they're supposed to be. But now the government, through wisdom and whatnot, has now put NAFDAC on PCN Council. So we can talk together, work together. And that is part of the collaboration. We are working with customs. National Export Promotion Council came to our lab the upper week, and they were shocked to see the type of equipment we have in Oshodi. We have 7 laboratories. The Oshodi Central Food Lab is well equipped, not fully equipped, but the DG of NEPC was shocked to see. She kept asking, can you do this? Can you do that? I said, of course we can. Of course we can. We don't need to send samples outside the country because we've saved money, or we are saving money to buy more. We have 7 labs and we have to equip them. We are now building laboratories around the country with the new state offices that we are building. All these things are the things we are doing. So,
just a few more questions as we wind down. First, could you tell us, because there are several of these vendors who have left, they don't have any physical stores anymore, so they've gone online, on social media, on Instagram, and they're selling products to people. They can't be traced, and so people don't even recognize if they are real or not. No NAFDAC clearance or registration. What are you doing about that?
Well, that is the challenge of the 21st century, and it is not just NAFDAC, it is all over now. The Pharmacy Council of Nigeria is working in terms of e-commerce, and NAFDAC is working in terms of e-commerce. We have intelligence gathering online. The same thing with the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, that whoever wants to sell anything drug, at least drug, must register with PCN. So this is a challenge, unfortunately, of the 21st century, but we have to catch up. And again, it is flesh and blood that will do all this.
All right, I've got someone who says that they have a challenge with your regulation and registration department, they say it's really slow. Sometimes it can take up to 3 years before they get through. So have you noticed that complaint, and is anything being done about it?
Yes, I've noticed that complaint is part of what I deal with every time. We have 26 directorates, including the 6 or the 7 rather zonal directorates or zonal offices headed by directors plus FCT. In terms of what we do, please repeat that question again. My mind was jumping to something else.
Yeah, it's about your registration and regulatory department. It's really slow to get across. Sometimes it takes 3 years to fix.
Yes. When I got here to NAFDAC, we weren't digitizing. That led to a lot of person-to-person contact and a lot of compromise, corruption. So we started digitizing. And when you do digitization, you have volume 1, volume 2, and also we have, even for those that went to school, some of us are stuck when it comes to use of computer. I'm talking of literates. They also have some mental block because of just computer. Not to talk of people that have not gone to school or that are not well educated. And when you now see that we have MSMEs, we started that in 2017. And we have thousands of them. That is where our challenge has been, because we have to assist them to register. It used to be manual, and then what can you give me, what favor can you do, or whatever. And I wanted to eliminate that. So it's a process. However, the fact is sometimes our registration is slow. Okay. And our staff, we need more staff. That is just the bottom line to do all the...
Okay, just one quick one before you go. People want to know, how do they use those barcodes out there on the facility, on the drugs?
Okay. When you have a big box, that is called the tertiary package. Then you have boxes inside the big box. Those boxes have the smaller or primary packages. Those boxes inside the big box is called the secondary package. People can scan, if they have smartphone, they can scan and it will tell you the batch number, the manufacturing date, who manufactured it, what is in it. We are stepping that up now to include product characteristics as far as the safety of the medicine is concerned, so that the well-informed consumer can use the barcode to actually say, oh, this is this X drug, it has this side effect, so I will need to use it with food or without food. So that we are stepping it up. NAFDAC is the leading agency in Africa in terms of barcoding, and second leading in the world. So when you have all these things happening, it is building a strong system. And that is the phase where that doesn't mean we will not have challenges.
All right.
But we are facing the challenges also. Thank you.
Prof. We do thank you for coming on. We wish you all the best. Professor Mojisola Ade, DG NAFDAC.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you. We're back in a moment. We'll talk about Christmas too in just a moment. Stay with us.
It's the first official meeting between the Ministers of Police Affairs and the Acting Inspector General of Police since the ministers were appointed last month. The Acting Inspector General of Police is accompanied by some senior police officers to this meeting, which held behind closed doors. Some moments later, the police boss briefs journalists about his mission to the ministry.
I have briefed the ministers on the general operations of the Nigerian police force. We have let them know our challenges. We have also presented an overview of the dynamics of crime and the general internal security situations in the country. We have also presented a template upon which the ministers can formulate policies that will enhance the workings of the police.
The Minister of Police Affairs suggests the scaling up of police response time to distress calls, as well as the need to establish special units.
To enhance our response capabilities, we need to establish a standby force of at least 3 units of the police mobile force in each state command. This will ensure a rapid and effective response to unforeseen incidents. To tackle the diverse range of criminal activities, we need to establish specialized units that can address each type of crime.
Apart from the advice on setting up special forces, the minister also emphasizes the imperative of a robust intelligence gathering mechanism to stay ahead of criminals.
We must establish robust systems to gather and analyze intelligence, enabling us to stay one step ahead of criminals. Strengthening cooperation between the police and the judiciary is also essential to ensure the smooth administration of justice. Furthermore, we must establish mechanisms for monitoring police conduct to maintain high standards of professionalism and ethics through the use of body-worn camera and dashboard camera in operational vehicles.
Nigeria's internal security is at a low ebb, a situation that many citizens will want to see the police improve on.
Mr. Moiwa Adejobi, the first public relations officer, he's here with us to talk to us about what to expect during this festive season. Good morning and thank you for coming on today. Morning, Shunde. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Yeah, we're good, we're good. We know this is the time that, people might lower their guard at some point, because of festivity, and others may just find a loophole to latch on to maybe unsuspecting celebrations or people during this festive season. What is the police doing to ensure that even though people may drop their guard, they still do that comfortably?
Well, policing is a process. It's like a system. So you just start a day to say you want to do this, you want to do that. We know that before now, the Ember month is always special to us because it's characterized with so many things, wrong projections, speculations, rumors that Ember month is bad, December is this, September is that the moment you enter this period, you tend to have more ugly incidences. But let's be realistic. This is a time people want to flux. The influx of people is always on their side. People want to come into the country, to various communities, to your state, to do one or two things. But most of them want to come and enjoy the festive period, while many of them will still want to come and do their bad businesses. As you thinking of catching the fun during the period, some are actually there to say, how do I make my ends meet in an illegitimate way? In other words, we have some criminals that are coming into our various communities, that are coming even to Nigeria to come and perpetrate their evil acts. But it's the responsibility is on the police and other security agencies to make sure that we fortify our various communities. We put certain measures on ground to protect our people, lives and property in all our communities in Nigeria. We are mindful of the fact that Ember month, like I said, is always very cumbersome for us. We are always on our toes. The Inspector General of Police, as IGBK Ode, Adule Bentokun, has that all commissioners of police and their supervisory IGs to prepare their operation order for this period, starting from September. That's the first month in Ember month. And we have our operation order from all our commands and formations across the country. You know, the operation order is a document that will comprise your activities, everything you want to do, administrative engagement, operational engagement, monitoring, everything you want to do for that particular assignment. So for Ember month, we have a robust operation order. This includes adequate traffic management. You agree with me, this period, we always have an increase in road crashes. So our traffic management units and our colleagues in particularly Federal Road Safety Corps and some of these state-owned traffic management agencies are always with us to work with us.
Do we expect more roadblock?
No. We don't have. Do we have roadblocks in Nigeria? We don't have roadblocks.
What do we call those ones we see?
We have stop and search. We have stop and search points.
Oh,
at times you see what we call observation points, pin down points. Roadblock is not common. Anywhere you see roadblock in Nigeria, definitely the government of that state has assented to that, has discussed with the IGP to have roadblocks. There are some states in Nigeria that will have roadblock. Roadblock is when you have zigzag movement. It's not just that when you see policemen, the flag, you can say this is roadblock. No. We have about 4 or 5 methods of that. We have roadblock, where you have log of wood, drums, everything to block the road, and you must move in zigzag movement. That is proper roadblock. You see where we have this is always a joint operation with the military. We always have that. It's not common there, but anywhere you have such a situation, I'm very sure the government of that place must have sought approval from the IGP, and the IGP will do that. It's not that a DPO will wake up after taking a glass of water and say, I want to go and block any highway anywhere. No, it's not so. Then we have observation points where you say police patrol vans will just park and open the doors of the vehicle. They monitor things. They don't move in most cases. That is pin down operation. Then we have the observation point too. It's similar to pin down points where you can observe movement, vehicular movement, people's movement, monitor so many things around you. In most cases, you see that some of these pin down points and observation points, we have our vehicles that have been, we have gadgets on them, cameras to monitor certain radius or distance from that particular point. So we don't have roadblock anyhow. I'm not reckless about that because we are mindful of the fact that for us, we don't even want to have proper roadblock the way it is. It's not.
But just
not
stop and search.
But there are some areas where the governors we make requests that we must have joint operation. I must have roadblock because of security situations in some of those areas.
I imagine that the IGP would have read the right acts to policemen. Look, this festive season, the stop and search, resist the temptation of asking people, what did you bring for us in this period?
That's well, the IG had a meeting with strategic commanders on Monday at the Ebele Jonathan Peacekeeping Hall here in Abuja. Strategic managers of the police, that team comprises commissioners of police and above. We had almost 140 of them on ground, including their AIGs. And the IGP made it clear enough that I want to have proper operational engagement during this period, devoid of corruption, incivility to members of the public, or harassment as the case may be. And yesterday he had a meeting with commanders of the PMF and all our tactical commanders. It's back to back. So the IGP is giving out messages to them directly. This message is coming out from the IGP. I don't want to say from the OC's mouth, but from the IGP's mouth, that they must this time around that we are tilting towards having that police, according to his vision of having a police force that is professionally competent, a police force that is rule of law compliant, service driven, and people friendly. So if you want to be people friendly, you don't need to be so aggressive. You don't need to be uncivil. So the IGP made, and another thing he discussed with them that we are tired of having complaints that some individuals in Nigeria, in connivance with some security operatives, drop in IGP's name, dupe Nigerians. You say, I have to strike a deal with you. If you have a case, you want to settle your case, and you are discussing for whatever you want to get from there, then you say, I want to get this percentage from IG in Abuja. Whereas this IG doesn't know anything about what you do. So we still want to reiterate now that Nigerians should be wary of this, be careful of those who are dropping the name of the IGP to dupe them. It's quite unfortunate that if Nigerians are discussing with our men, they quote and unquote, they are gullible to an extent that the moment an IPO drops the name of the IGP, you say, and you believe that IGP is actually aware of what they are saying. The IGP is in Abuja. Even their AIGs might not be aware of what they do. In most cases, their CPs might not be aware of what they do. But it's important for Nigerians to know that anytime anyone is actually dropping the IGP's name or any senior officer's name, try to clarify from us. People actually, there's a case I mentioned some time ago that somebody went to Yinka Ifele in Ibadan, and in Ibadan, Yinka Ifele was calling me that somebody, the IGP PA is here in my office, and it's like he said, IGP said I should send 500,000 naira. How will an IGP ask Yinka Ifele, my brother, that is managing to do his business, and to say you should drop 500,000 naira? I don't think any IGP would do that. Rather, IGP will even invite Ifele and always collaborate with him and even support his ministry of what he's doing. So he took the pain to get across to us at the first headquarters. If he had not done that, maybe the guy could have collected 500,000 naira from Yinka Ifele. I actually want all Nigerians to always get across to us.
Did you find out who it was?
Sorry?
Did you find out who it was?
Yes, he was eventually arrested. It's nobody. He's just a civilian who likes to drop names of big men in the police, and he would dress. And what they do is they always monitor everything. So they are very, very current.
Did he wear a police uniform?
No, it's a mufti. But they will tell you, mention names, they will tell you police activities that you'll be convinced that actually this guy is close to the IGP. He will tell you where IGP lives, he will tell you the village of the IGP. Of course, these things are online. You can actually Google and get many information. But they are always, we arrested almost 10 of them this year who have actually been telling Nigerians the IGP said so. In fact, somebody went to some people that the IGP want to auction police vehicles. And that guy paid like almost 50 million naira to buy police auction. We don't have enough vehicle, and you still believe somebody telling you the IGP want to auction almost all the vehicles in the police. Yeah, this is a lie. We are able to arrest many of them, and we still. And when I made a statement to that effect then to caution Nigerians, to educate Nigerians that this is not proper. Police auction process is a legal thing. And if you want to do it, there must be an announcement. Nigerians will know that you want to do any public auction of any property you want to do. Not only police vehicles, you can auction anything you want. Exhibits are always auctioned, but the due process must be followed. We make announcement, we make publication in Nigerian dailies, and you can make advertorials for people to know that you actually want to auction of this. And this time around, Chimele, let's look at, I want Nigerians to take note that we are trying to take both steps in checkmating vehicle-related crimes in Nigeria. The IGP has introduced many things into the police to embrace ICT, to have what we call e-policing. We noticed that almost 60 or 70% of vehicles in Nigeria are not registered. And this is not proper.
60 to 70%?
Almost, yes. They are not registered, and you see people, even those who register their vehicles, they like to cover number plates. It's sick. I don't understand why. In most cases, you see people who have spent huge amount of money to get customized number, you still cover it. You that you want to show your ego, you want to show your pride, and that's why you have gone to customize your number plate, you still cover it. You just move around, you see, the thing is just another of the day that everybody just want to cover his number plate. It is criminal, and we made a statement to that effect sometimes that Nigerians should know that on no account should anybody cover his number plates, except those who are pennant officers. These pennant officers are those that use flag on their official staff cars. Talking of the president, the vice president, the senate president, the speaker, principal officers of the National Assembly, the governors, and all of the commissioners of police and above, generals in the military, those that use pennants, that is flag. You can cover your number plate. The moment it's 6 p.m., those flags must go down. And it goes with the number. So when the flags go down, the number plates must be covered. Fine, official. But what of you that you are sorry to say, nobody, and you just want to cover your number plate? I've seen a commercial vehicle, one Uberman that is covering number plate. For what? So we want to take it serious, and that's why you see that we're introducing so many things to make sure.
Is that where the ECMR comes in?
Yes, ECMR is part of it. And of course, there are so many things we've done. There's what we call Operation Velvet. Those old ones in Nigeria, we understand we call Operation Velvet. It's not for the GZ or what do you call our young ones now. They won't, Denzel will not understand what is ECMR and what is Operation Velvet. It's a situation whereby you see the traffic department of the police in conjunction with road safety and other traffic management agencies. You come out en masse, check vehicles documents in total. At that time, you're going to see a mobile court close to there. Immediately, you are found wanting. Within 2 minutes, you have your sentence. So it's not that, please, it's my brother's brother, it's my uncle, it's my this. You don't even have time to make calls to say, please let me beg him, and you appeal to sentiment and you want to do that. No. We are still going to announce that. It's not what you do. You make announcement. Okay. After the expression of the announcement, I think we give them 14-day notice before we do that. But the IGP has given approval to that effect. The Deputy Inspector General of Police Operations has sent out the signal.
Oh, hold on. Is there a revenue drive on the part of the police?
No. We do it with the state government. We don't do it. We don't generate. The police doesn't generate revenue. It's
no. Because I do know that the VIO, for instance, much as people do not like VIO stopping them, we know that when VIO stops you and your papers are not in order, what they do is they ensure you go to their office that day. In fact, they will follow you there. They will take you there and make sure that your papers are in order. Before you pay. Exactly, you pay before you leave.
But this we do.
So if you say your own is to find them, because it's
the government. Police don't control courts. Don't forget I told you mobile courts will be with us. We don't control courts. We don't control the judiciary. Definitely is the Attorney General and the state government of that place that work with us. In fact, now the process is we are writing to the government.
To what end is the question? That's what I'm asking.
No. The police will not do it alone. I told you it's Operation Velvet. The government is involved.
What are you trying to achieve with Operation Velvet? That's what I'm asking.
Vehicles that are not registered will be detected. Stolen vehicles will be detected. The VIO will be there. There are so many vehicles flying on Nigerian roads are not roadworthy. What is the problem? We need to enforce this. It's not all vehicles that you see on the road that they have papers. Most of them are fake documents. We have arrested many of these drivers that are in possession of fake or forged documents. And it's a criminal offense. The ECMR is coming, is a project that is coming that, we started, this thing is not a new thing. It's 1958 that we have Road Traffic Acts of Nigeria. It's an act of law that the police must do proper documentation of all of these vehicles. And the only thing we have added now is that we're signing an MOU with the custom. Every vehicle coming into Nigeria must pass through this process. At a glance, it's going to help Nigerians too, because it's going to assist them to detect crimes, to recover some of these stolen vehicles. So far, so good. I think we have some, I don't know if you can help us with some of the slides we have in the studio. Some of them are available, that we have some of these vehicles recovered through the ECMR. It's going to help us. Now, the IGP has actually launched this application, this tab is given to policemen on the road. Instead of you having unnecessary arguments, you have paper, you don't have this, you have CMR, it's ECMR, electronic CMR, Central Motor Registry. We have these applications
I'm not enthusiastic about this at all. And I know the reason, because some people will say, oh, look, this is just another opportunity to exploit Nigerians. No. If people have actually gotten their vehicles through legitimate means, maybe their papers for whatever reason are not in order, and we don't know that there is a preponderance of ways people get their papers, and it might not exactly be original. I am not making excuses for them. It might just be that they do not know. It's just complete and true ignorance. Do we have a way of educating the public first to say these are the papers that you must have? You have a grace period within which to get it, and from this time, if you do not have it, this is what is going to happen.
For whatever enforcement you want to do, we always reach out to Nigerians. The Operation Velvet is what I told you. You must give notice of 14 days. It's not that you wake up a day and you want to enforce it. Go and perfect your papers. It's a tradition. It's a law.
14 days from when?
Anytime you made that announcement. And it's from state to state. It's not that across the country in a day. It's not possible. It's state by state. The CP is in charge of that state. You work with the government of that state to have a day that they're going to do it. Then the police will make an announcement that between so period and so period, please go and check your papers. Go and perfect your papers, because we want to do enforcement.
Is it going to be done during this Yuletide season?
No, it's not now. The process, I told you, the process is on. We are going to work with the government to have approval of the government to give us mobile courts. It's another process. because the police will not be there alone. Okay. We don't want to do it in such a way that you just park vehicles.
I think we've gone ahead of ourselves then. If it's not during this Yuletide season, then let's leave it aside. When you're about to start it, you'll come and brief us about it again. But
you better get it before the
yes, no, but I think to be forewarned is to be forearmed. I think that if we've said here that this is something that's going to happen after the holiday season, so nobody should be asking you for ECMR right now. Is that correct?
No, you can start enforcement anytime, but this ECMR is different. It's different from the operative velvet. Don't get it wrong. ECMR enforcement is on, but the operative velvet is what I told you is going to be a process. We need to involve the state government. Okay, but whatever it is, we need to let Nigerians know that whatever innovation we have brought in on board, we have brought it to policing now.
So that is what ECMR is, just in case.
Yes, Nigerians can have a look, and we have a portal there. People can actually visit the portal. But for stolen vehicles, the majorly is to assist us to prevent car theft and to recover some of our vehicles. That Nigerians can actually visit report CMR at pf.gov.ng. It's always here to do that. An additional thing the IGP has done is to work on the international drivers permit. You can see the old one. The old one is like this. Just see how it looks. I don't think this is too good enough for us to present this in any country abroad. It looks so inferior. So we are working on this. This has the barcode is there for you to get information of any driver at a glance, and this is going to help us in so many ways. Apart from this, we have the C4I. You know, I came on board some time ago to discuss C4I to Nigerians. It's a rescue application, and the police VGS emergency reporting and response system. All these things you can download on your phone in case there is any problem. And the additional thing we have done on that one is when you have distress anywhere, you press this thing on your phone. There's a camera. Every phone comes with a camera. The camera will immediately be recording things around you, and we see this in our own office. We have used some of these applications to arrest so many people. Like I told you, 2023 in retrospect, generally we have 2,771 armed robbery suspects across the country. We have 1,974 suspected kidnappers who are involved in various kidnapping cases, and 2,755 people arrested for murder homicide cases. And for an operation of prohibited firearms, we have 772 suspects arrested for unlawful possession of prohibited firearms. For rape, this domestic violence, rape, sexual harassment, and the likes, 1,629 suspects. We rescued 3,000. This is important. We rescued 3,173 kidnapped victims across the country.
Well, you have additional 2 police officers and 13 other people now to rescue who were kidnapped in Taraba.
The Taraba incidents in Pupule community, the police, the sergeant and inspector, they are members of that community. The sergeant resides in Pupule community while the inspector is on annual leave. He just went.
They were not in police uniform.
No. He's in the midst of his own people, and these armed bandits attacked the community around 10:30 p.m. And they moved away with some of them. This definitely we're going to do, because any kidnapping recorded, we always take them serious. We have a central efficient center in the office of the NSA. All of us meet. The military, the police, and all our intelligence community will meet to actually work on this and see what we want to do. But what I want to tell Nigerians is when we have kidnapping, it's always very fast, very easy to kidnap. But to rescue is not that so easy. It's a very tedious assignment. We need to take our time so that we will not hurt anybody, any victim of kidnapping. So we want to appeal to Nigerians to always understand us when it comes to cases of kidnapping. Families of these victims at times are always very difficult to work with. It's because kidnappers always work on their psyche. Don't involve the police. When you talk to the police, we actually monitor you, and they believe that they monitor them. But we want to appeal to them. Always talk to us. Your identity will be in confidence. The identity will not be revealed to anybody. If we have been getting information from people's victims' family, and we have been rescuing victims, the students of University of Lafayette that were kidnapped, they have been rescued. They were rescued on 11th or 12th of December, just this month. The same thing in those same mine, Casina. Almost 23 of them that were kidnapped have been rescued. So we are not relenting our effort to make sure people, those who have been kidnapped, are rescued on earth. And we work together with the military, and we have a fusion center at the office of the NSA where we coordinate all activities. So it's not that we do this in isolation. And for Nigerians to be on the same page with us, we just want them to always contact us in case they're in doubt of anything. All these innovations, all these ideas, electronic policing we want to put in place. We want them to know that we can't continue to be digital, to be analog in digital era. We need to move with time, and we need to be dynamic in whatever we do. They can always report to us through all our complaints platforms. We have all of them. My number is there. We follow us on Twitter. We follow us on Instagram, Facebook, everything, to get more information about it. So we want to appeal to them to please key into all our ideas. By the time we want to commence due enforcement of this, we're going to address the media again so that Nigerians can be in the know. But this is going to be very simple for us, because whatever we do now, this is going to help us at a point. No policeman will say, you don't have this, say to me.
That's why
the system is connected to our control center, and we monitor everybody across the country.
To reduce our contacts instead of stopping people just indiscriminately. So this will help you see everything.
This app is going to be given to the enforcement officer. It's going to be at that point to do it. Even there, I think they can even register there. If they have not been registered, they can confirm it and check it online to do what they want to do.
Taking you to this.
So, and this time around, I think we need to urge our Nigerians that this is Ember month. We are going to have heavy deployment. All those uniformed men, security operatives on the field are to protect you, and therefore you. Please respect them. I know they are going to respect you. Fun stickers, whatever I want to do, we need to be moderate. Everybody has his own gauge. Don't go beyond.
We have to anchor at this point
and support us in whatever we do, so that I can enjoy our Christmas and New Year.
Absolutely.
And generally, we are inviting all of you for our Christmas carol. It's coming up on Friday. So you are Maupe, and now you and
they have their CRM, so they won't bother your bookie, so that's fine. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. Muyiwa Adejobi, First Public Relations Officer. We're back to talk about Rivers politics in just a moment, so don't go away.
Let me say this to my dear states. I call you my dear state because the support you have shown within this period is unmeasurable. From quotas, ordinarily, I don't even have any contact with them, but they have stood by us. I want you to know that there is no amount that is too big to pay for peace.
All right, welcome back. Mr. J.K. Pella joins us this morning, founder, CEO of TAF Africa. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain.
So, I don't know, does that comment from the governor weather the storm? Because several people have been up in arms about different things. But if he says, no price, too much to pay for peace, where do we go from here?
You know, Chamberlain, I listened to that, and I'm a bit concerned. In the sense that I'm asking myself, is the governor body language telling us what to come? Is he going to sacrifice himself for the interest of the so-called peace? It's a question that that is begging for an answer. You know.
What do you mean sacrifice himself?
Definitely, what is in the media and what I've been told that was a directive from the president is suicidal. He has signed his own political exit, as far as I'm concerned. And I want to believe that he didn't, you know, because both the president's meeting and directive is absolutely an aberration on the Constitution of Nigeria.
But if the governor says no price is too big to pay for peace, means that probably he's thinking about, look, sheath of swords, let there be peace. But if people keep pushing him and goading them to do all of those things, no, I'm just saying if that's the case, wouldn't they be the ones to now feel, if he has said this before and people say, no, we don't agree with this, take it back, and then probably he does one or two other things, of course it will have a spiral effect.
The truth is that Sim Fubara must know that he's the governor of a state elected by the people. He doesn't even have the right of his own to disown us or abandon his position.
Is that disowning if he says no price too big for peace?
My brother, the truth is, you don't get peace at the platter of appeasement. That's just the truth. We tried it with Hitler. It never worked.
But did he say he signed or didn't sign that agreement?
That's what we need to know. He has not been able, he's been too reticent for my liking. He has not been able to come out to say whether he was there, whether he signed, whether the signature that we're seeing are his, because we're talking about a state that I'm part of. I am very concerned and sometimes sleepless about what is happening in the state, about how one individual think he's in absolute control of a state that is bigger than him and bigger than his ambition. What kind of stupid structure are we talking about when the structure you're suing for is more important to you than the structure of the state?
But have we bothered to ask ourselves, what was the agreement even before Sim became a candidate and governor? Do we know?
Well, that is left for Sim. If I were Sim and I was in that meeting, I would simply tell the president that after this meeting, I will throw in my resignation. People should be able to stand for what they believe. And that's the typical Opopo man. We are not interested in how much you have or what position you're keeping. We hold our name so dear that we are ready to sacrifice anything and everything to keep our name. These enemies of democracy must be brought to book.
Well, so is this about where he's from?
No, it's not about where he's from. The ultimate place he comes from is River State.
Indeed, but it would seem that, within Rivers, we've been hearing some voices louder than others in terms of, how he should behave and how he's not conducting himself as governor.
Well, it's not a question of where he comes from. It's a question of protection, protecting the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which every one of them swore an oath to uphold. That's the question. It's not an ethnicity. It has nothing to do where he comes from. It has everything to do with the common people that this giant are suffocating.
Let's bring in our colleagues from Lagos.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. One of the challenges, Mr. Pele, that a number of people will be looking at here is the people. At the end of the day, it's always about the people. And so the question that have been raised over time is the constitutionality of the issue. But there are those who are pointing to the issue being more of a political one than a legal or constitutional one, for which reason some people believe that is why the president intervened to bring in a political resolution and not necessarily a constitutional or unconstitutional approach, just a political solution. Because, of course, that this issue has been brewing for a while. How do you respond?
Solution, no matter what it looks like, is not above the Constitution of the country. As a matter of fact, a peaceful resolution will come from upholding the constitutions, the values, the tenets. The framers of the Constitution did it in order to ensure that issues like this will be resolved. So, my brother, is not more of the political gains, but the constitutionality of what they are doing.
So in what
in
way,
Mr.
Mr. Pele?
And
just a second.
I believe
that
peace is paramount. There's no doubt about that.
In
but
what way?
You cannot obtain peace on the appeasement. I will keep saying this.
In what way has the president's intervention breached the Constitution?
I guess I'm not hearing you. But whatever happens, we need to continue. I believe that proper dialogue is required, where the two parties are brought to look at the issues objectively, not one-sidedly, because the meeting, from what we read, is obvious that it was a one-sided meeting where a certain clique of the other camp had the upper hand. And it looks to me like Sim Fubara was muzzled and almost held on his throat to agree to what is being out there that he agreed to. I think it's also necessary for him to come out to say whether he truly signed those documents and agreed to the terms of that document for the interests of the people, And the people of Rivers State must not be taken for granted. We are very resilient. We can stand for what is right, even where it means our own tears.
Yeah, Mr. Pele, without disregard for the Constitution, it would seem like, in the light of the circumstances, a political solution is what is required to solve, the problem at hand. But, following upon the president's intervention, we understand that a former governor of Rivers State was present, and one would wonder why, if a former governor of Rivers State was present, the agreements reached was such that Governor Sim Fubara got the short end of the stick and there was no balance. And why do you think also that elders in Rivers State are now only just finding their voice to complain about why the agreements are one-sided? Why? Why is this so?
Well, you can be in the room and not have a voice. Nobody had told us what the likes of Chief Odili said. Nobody had told us who else were there in the room and what they said. Can they come out to say that they all appended their signature to the terms of that directive or agreement, whatever it is? Now, don't forget, I am an advocate for peace. I am an advocate for peaceful resolution. But this thing we keep talking about, political resolution, will political resolution be seen to be over and above constitutional resolution? There's a constitutional provision. I'm not a lawyer, but I think I've read well enough to know that 109 subsection 1G is absolutely clear. There's no ambiguity. You don't need to be a lawyer to read that and understand exactly what that clause has said. So
again,
I think that political. Go ahead.
Again, I'd like to, talk politics rather than the Constitution. So going by this agreement now, should we be in doubt, about views now being expressed by the opposition that the agreement has been designed to hand over the political structure of Rivers State to Minister Nyesom Wike?
Well, I don't know what handing over the political structure of Rivers State to whoever. But for heaven's sake, Wike is not Rivers State. He's not the only indigenous of Rivers State. All of us have a stake. All of us are stakeholders. And he cannot determine what happens in Rivers State all by himself. It is an aberration. He's been the former governor of the state. He should remain that way. And by the way, Honorable Minister, if you're listening to me this morning, save your legacy. You have served the people. You've done well in certain quarters. What you're doing right now will eventually erase every legacy that you have left behind. Every leader that leads well, that will lead well, will always leave the place he has led intact. And don't let history remember you for an impending crisis. And we must not allow that to happen. Every River State person should stand up for what is right in peace.
What is the former governor asking of the current governor? Do you know?
Well, the terms are there. Let's go by the terms of what they have put out. You know, reinstate the people.
No. Before, what led to all this in the first place? Because you're asking him to save his legacy. So one assumes that you know what he's asking the governor to do.
Well,
that is not right.
Well, Chamberlain, this is a smart journalistic question, but let me answer you. The more I know, the much I know, is the crisis between him and his predecessor. And there is no doubt, you don't need an IQ of a mushroom to know that all is not well.
Yeah, but we don't know what exactly the issue is.
Well, two of them will come out and tell us what the issues are. Two of them should come out and tell us what the issues are.
Because we had some former governors on this show, ministers, who said a thing, and then they go out and say they were misquoted. I was like, misquoted? Look, this is on tape.
I'm not saying anything. Quote me tomorrow.
The reason why, I'm bringing all of this is this. Former Governor Dele had a function, and messages are circulating that what? They didn't pass certain things through him, he didn't agree. Did he speak to that matter? Nobody heard anything of it.
That's why, Chamberlain, that's why I'm saying to our elders, this is the time to stand for what is true. This is the time to speak up. If I were Governor Dele, I would come on a show like this and say to the entire country, I wasn't part of that agreement, I didn't agree, or I agreed.
So because people are going about certain things, and the people who are even in the area tell us what exactly is the issue. Don't let people keep going down a path. At the end of the day, you now hear that they've settled the matter.
Well, unfortunately, the only person...
So what was all the hot air about?
The only person who is talking is Wike, because he seems to have control of the media. The other person, which is Sim, have been practicing reticent strategy, which does not help.
When you say he has control of the media, some people say, oh, hold on. The media is available to everybody who wants to speak. I mean, when the current governor is saying, oh, no price too big to pay for peace, it is this same media that has carried it on the front pages. So when you say he's in control of the media, precisely what do you mean?
No. What I'm saying is Mr. Wike seems to be the darling of the media. He knows how to sensationalize issues.
Very much like you're the darling of the media.
Well, I am for the right causes. I am for the right causes, and I will continue to be. The truth is, we must not keep quiet.
But if the governor has chosen to keep quiet, you're going to force him to speak?
Well, we're not forcing him to speak, but he has to know that he's the governor of the people. He's not similarly for himself. He's the governor of the people. And history will judge him if he keeps quiet and cover the evil that is brewing.
What if he says, I just said yesterday, no price too big to pay. So people don't like that part. They want him to say something else.
Well, let him resign. Let him resign, of course. Resign? Yes, let him resign.
Why?
If he feels that the price he will pay for appeasing Wike and his camp is his resignation, let him resign.
Well, ultimately, look, whatever the people want is what should hold sway in democracy. So
we want peace. We want peace. We want true democracy and democratic values.
Right. Let's see some messages before we go this morning. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Pele. He's the founder and CEO of TAF Africa. So the authorities must have heard what part of the people want also. This one is from Akinola, who says, it's about police checkpoints. The police force needs to do integrity checks within their men and women in the force. I went to Owerri in August. I counted over 56 checkpoints/roadblocks. So bad, you will see the next checkpoint before you drive away, 100 meters apart. Checkpoint prolongs time travels. When you slow down, they stretch out their hand, wanting gratifications. This act is common with commercial vehicles who is policing.
It's not a handshake, it's just... Well, not trying to make light of it, but really, I mean, just some breaking news now. coming from our correspondent in Rivers State. Says currently ongoing, 26 Rivers State House of Assembly lawmakers are currently sitting, and single item for consideration, withdrawal of impeachment notice against Governor Sim Fubara. So more details are selling being.
Oh, okay.
But this is what our correspondent Charles Oporum is reporting from Rivers State. Thank you so much for watching this morning. We have quite a lot of feedback. Hopefully we should be able to take them before the week is out. Thank you for watching. I'm Mark Welgu Yusuf.
For watching the program today, I am Bukola Koka.
And I'm Aya Makinde. Have a wonderful day.